Hey guys, and welcome to the Smoke and Speed podcast. This is something new we're doing. My name is Sarah, and I'm going to be your host throughout this journey. Might be a couple other people that add in from time to time when I can't be there, but for the next few weeks at least, I'm going to be the one that's going to be taking you through this ride of the ins and outs, the behind the scenes, the spotlight, all kinds of different stuff that has to do with our truck and tractor motorsports. It's going to be covering everything from pulling to racing, dynos, truck shows, big rigs, pickups, diesel swapped rides. We're going to have some gas truck action in there. Anything and everything, basically. We're going to talk to some shops, some sponsors. Anything you guys want to hear, just feel free to reach out to me. And anybody that you want to be interviewed, and you want to ask them questions, just let us know. We're here to keep the sport alive while we're all kind of quarantined with this coronavirus that's going around. Tonight we're going to be talking with Josh Bordas. He's one of our avid truck pullers. He's been pulling with us for years, and when I say us, I'm saying Smoke and Speed. He also has a shop of his own called Mounting Repair that's located in Pennsylvania, and going to dive right on into chatting with him. Hey, Josh, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
All right. How's everything going in Pennsylvania today?
Rainy, a little chilly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how's your plans for pulling season going so far? You ready to go? You still got some stuff to button up, or how's that looking?
Well, actually, my pulling truck now has a different motor in it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I put a compounded motor in it. It's back on the street.
Wow. So, all right, let's back up here for people that don't know. Year, make, and model of Green Mile, and what you've been doing with it and all that kind of stuff.
It's 2011 Ram 2500. Obviously has a 6.7 Cummins in it. G56 truck. And I've been sled pulling it for about 6 years now, and I've always pulled in 2.5 in the hot street classes, that will allow dual pumps and a single large, charger, if you want to call it a large charger, but a non-stock appearing charger, I guess is the best way to say that. And that's just how the truck has been. I street drove it for 2 years when I first started pulling, and then I turned it into a full-blown pulling truck for the last 4 years or so. And then this past winter I decided it was enough, and I pulled the old motor out of it, put a street motor back in it with a big set of compounds on it.
So what made you want to put it back on the street?
Well, honestly, it's the fact that the truck itself has very low mileage on it, and it killed me to see it as a pulling truck. And I'm at the point in truck pulling that I want to take the next step. I want to take the truck further. But this truck, I can bring myself to do that. I couldn't cut it apart any more than what it was. It was at the point of either you cut it apart more and it's never going back on the street, or you leave it how it is and put it back on the street.
Yeah, because your truck it's pretty heavy, right? It's a crew cab or a quad cab, whatever they call it, and it's a long bed. I mean, that's a pretty heavy truck to start with. Right.
Yeah, which actually the truck started its life out as a quad cab short bed, and then I converted it over to a quad cab long bed, and I can only hang roughly 400 pounds on the front of it because of how heavy it is.
Right. Right.
In order to meet the 8,000 pound class limit that 90% of the organizations run.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
right.
that's where there was a deciding factor in that. So, and as you and some other people are probably wondering, so what's that mean as far as the 2020 season goes?
That's what I was just going to ask you. So what does that mean? Are we talking to a retired puller, or do you have something that you're hiding, or what's the deal?
I am currently in the process of building a new pulling truck. It is still, as ironic as this is, it's a 2011 Ram 2500. It started life as a quad cab long bed, and I have, in the last 2 months, I have painted the truck, I
So what's your plan? Do you have a 6.7 that you're putting back in that thing? Or are you getting something else? What class you pulling in? What kind of details? I mean, is this all you're going to give us, or you got more?
So I'm going to use the old pulling motor. Obviously, I'm revising it. There's a couple of things. I build my own motors. I have a local machine shop that does any machining for me, but I'm the one that specs the motors out and puts them together myself and see what works. And there was a couple of things I wasn't happy with. So currently the motor's getting redone, and as soon as I get it back from the machine shop, then I'll do the assembly process. But it's a 6.7, as the old pulling truck had in it. It's the same block. And I'm going to end up pulling in 2.6 smooth bore this year. Since how everyone's making the transition to it, I'm going to, do the drawbar hitch. I'm going to put a 2.6 smooth charger on it, and that's the class I'm going to run for this year with the future plans of bumping up.
Right.
As far as what class I'm going to bump up to, I honestly can't answer that at this time. I don't know, but I know I'm at the point where I have a truck that is free and clear. It's 100% a pulling truck. There's no regrets. There's no turning back. I have zero sorrow for cutting it up.
Right.
So the sky is the limit with this truck, and that's where I'm gonna keep pushing until I get it to where I want it to be. And I've had a lot of great people behind me. If it wasn't for these people that are behind me, none of this would have ever happened.
Right. You gonna shout out some names? Or you're just gonna leave it like that, and they know who they are?
Some of them do know who they are. There's a couple new places. Edge Products came on board this year in order for me to have a decent data logging system for the truck. They have a lot of great products, and it'll be able to help fine-tune the truck. Gordon Lindemood is the one that tunes my truck with GL diesel tuning, and he does really good with me about it. If I have the littlest issue, I just text Gordon and I say, hey, man, this is the problem I'm having, and he instantly gets me a tune right away.
Yeah.
And then, because of building two trucks, essentially, I've had to change fuel systems and stuff like that. I'm bumping up the fuel system in the pulling truck. And Dynamite Diesel Products came on board with me this year as well as a sponsorship for all my fuel system stuff. And they have been tremendous with how much they've helped out with that kind of stuff, because as everyone knows in the diesel world, fuel system stuff is not cheap.
Right.
And they sell a really good product. I actually, sidetrack a little bit. So I operate a shop in Phillipsburg called Mountie Repair in Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania. And I have a rollback, so we offer towing services for our customers. And the rollback was in dire need of injectors. It was bad. So I hit Brian up at Dynamite, and I said, hey, man, I need 7 injectors for my rollback, yada, yada, yada. So he got me a set of injectors for it. I put them in the truck, and it was amazing the difference that it did. And that right there goes to show when you use a good injector shop, Exergy, S&S, they are both good shops as well. But when you do find a good shop and they're willing to help you with whatever they can, when you run their products and you see what kind of differences they make, it's incredible to me.
Right.
And then, as everyone has known, Caterbill, Austin Case, Caterbill turbochargers, he's the one that's built my turbos for the last, I think, 3 or 4 years. I'm not quite sure. We've had a long relationship. So he is going to, he's trying some new things out. He didn't want to build a smooth bore charger, a 2.6 smooth bore charger, but I talked him into it. So he is coming up with a couple of different things, and we're going to try them out and see what happens. And hopefully we get something that's going to be pretty solid, which I think we will. I've always been happy with his turbos on how they make power and stuff like that. So.
Right. And then are you planning on any other stuff with the old truck? Are you planning to do King of the Street again, or?
The King of the Street thing is up in the air right now. A lot of it just depends on life mainly.
Right.
There's a lot going on out in the world, and in my own personal life. So a lot of it depends, but I mean, at the end of the day, if depending on where the pulling truck is at that point, I would probably use the original Green Mile to do an event like that. I mean, it makes good power,
Right.
the way it is. So that's probably what I would use, as long as the pulling truck is not capable of having suspension under it.
Right. Now, is the new truck that you're building now, are you transferring the Green Mile name? Are you calling it Green Mile 2 or Green Mile Revised, or what are your thoughts on that?
It's going to say just the Green Mile. I don't see a need to call it Green Mile 2.0 or Green Mile Revised or Green Mile Reloaded, whatever the case is. The truck is still green. It still looks almost identical to the original truck. I literally bought the same grill and headlights and stuff like that just to match the truck.
Right. Cool. So
Just
there's
that
probably
way
a lot of people. There's probably a lot of people that are going to ask you if you just chop the bed up, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there is, and that bed is actually the original bed from my original truck, so it's kind of ironic how that works.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy that you chopped one truck up and then you extended the other one. It's almost, a lot of... Too bad you couldn't have got both of them at the same time.
And honestly, the new Green Mile actually has the original Green Mile's frame underneath it as well.
Wow. You just like swapping stuff around. Is that what we're getting at here? That's
yeah,
crazy.
Pretty much. I like to play with things.
Yeah.
I'm bored in the winter.
Yeah, that's true. I know how that feeling goes. Now, you did say that you build your own engines. Is that something that you do for customers as well? Do you push that out there? Are you testing your stuff, or what all are you marketing in that area?
Yeah, so I build motors for customers. I don't let machine shops assemble motors. Not taking anything away from machine shops. It's just, in order for me to stand behind a product, I need to be able to put that product to use myself and do it myself. If I don't do it myself, I don't know the work that's been put into it, so I can't stand behind it. So right. I always build my own motors for customers. I try to do as much as, probably the best way to say this is, I always try to do as much as I can in-house.
Right.
We're just a small two-man shop, so it's hard to do, a lot of things that the bigger shops do, but we do a lot more than what people realize.
Yeah, well, we definitely want to push some of that forward because, I was actually talking to, I've known you for years, and I had no idea that you did your own motors until I was actually talking to Mike Lepley, and he's like, Bordas is getting into motors and stuff, and I was like, what? Didn't even know that. I mean, we don't do a lot of marketing stuff as far as trying to figure out what each puller does and asking them what they assembled and that sort of thing. And I guess that's kind of one of the main points I want to go over in this podcast and starting this is like what you guys all do, because I knew in the back of my mind that most of the people in pulling did a lot of their own assembly and their own fabrication and their own stuff, and I guess I really am just now getting back to the realization that you guys are very self-sufficient as much as possible with all your builds.
Yeah, and that's Mike brought that up because I'm actually in the process of building him a. He wants 1,000 horsepower, but it turned all the way up. It'll probably make it upwards in the 1,500 horsepower range pickup. So it'll be a fun truck for him. But the whole purpose behind that, I feel like being self-sufficient, is you don't have to rely on anyone but yourself. Right. So you can only upset yourself.
Right.
You can't get mad at anyone else. As far as even the turbo piping kit on my 2011 that I'm street driving, that compound kit, I built that myself. I wasn't going to go out and spend $4,000 on a compound kit when I can make it myself, and I can make it my way, the way I want it.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's a great point, because there's a lot of good quality products out there from a lot of the shops, but I've also had people say to me, I'll ask them like, hey, you pulling this weekend? You racing this weekend? You whatever? And then, no, I'm still waiting on this part, or I'm still waiting on that part. And it's like, man, you've been waiting on that for a while now. And it's kind of like, maybe do something else. But I guess if you can do it and, take care of yourself, you're going to make sure you're not going to miss a points race, and you're going to make sure that you don't miss a points pull, and you can get there and get the data done, and you're not depending on somebody else to push your truck to where you need to have it tested and where you want it to be in its performance level.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole kicker behind it. And hopefully we're hoping to expand the shop as far as the business aspect goes, to expand the shop to do our own machining in-house as well. So that way, as far as head work and stuff like that with customers goes, there's less downtime, because we're not relying on a machine shop that all they do is machining for outside customers. It'll all be in-house. And I'm a very impatient person. Anyone that knows me very well knows I'm very impatient. And I'm not taking anything away from other shops or other vendors or, parts suppliers, whatever the case is. They all have great products. But I don't, when you're in a business, customers don't want to wait. If they give you money, they want that now. They don't want it 3 months down the road or whatever the case is. They want that stuff done now. And I'm the same way. I want it in. I want to get it done. I want them to have a smile on their face and be happy and on their way. Right. So that's why I always try to do as much as I can. And plus, in the aspect of the pulling truck or my street truck that, I build a motor for, whatever the case is, it's also a learning experience. Because if I can do this on this truck and I can beat the crap out of it, towing or whatever the case is, actually putting it to work and see it for myself and see the results, I can comfortably say, this works.
Right.
This is what you need to do.
Right.
And that's probably the biggest satisfaction I get from doing work myself, is that when I do it myself and I see what it does and I see the end result of it, it's just like, basically a pat on the back.
Right. And it's great to see your truck do well, but it's probably a sense of pride for you whenever any of your customers' trucks go out there and do well as well on the track or wherever that is.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly the case. There's a lot of pulling trucks from this area that we are in that I've either assisted with or have helped in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just something as simple as setup. But and it's awesome to see them smile and get happy, even if they are just a little street truck.
Right. Hey, those street trucks pack a powerful punch nowadays. We were just talking about this and how the street trucks now are pushing more horsepower than the biggest class of pulling truck was when we started.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's completely true.
It's crazy how, I remember talking to my cousin about the 2.8 class, and I was like, oh, like how much horsepower is that? And 600, 800 horsepower back then was like you were doing something crazy to get that horsepower. And now it's like, oh yeah, well, these new trucks that they have, you do minor work to them, and you can get 500 horsepower, and it's like, holy cow! Do you know the amount of money and the amount of work that it took the older trucks just to break that 500 horsepower mark? I mean, your work stock class was like, nothing like it was now. The work stock trucks nowadays and the street trucks nowadays are pushing way more horsepower. I mean, it's nothing to see 1,000, 1,200 horsepower out of a street truck nowadays.
No, it's not. It literally is nothing. In the past years, it's literally doubled.
Yeah.
As far as power goes, and it's crazy to think about it in that aspect.
Right, and you hope that it's not going to go too far out there, but also you want the industry to keep moving forward. But at the same time, as a promoter, I know my end of it. I'm like, okay, well, how much power is our quote unquote lowest class going to make before it's it's no longer a low class. You know, we always
Yeah.
have this discussion in the gas world, and it's like, you know, the older trucks, they're not up to par with the newer trucks and the LS engines and all the tuning and all that stuff. And it's almost like you need to have a nostalgic class. You know, we're to that point now, and it's like, you know, it's tough because what are we supposed to do with the older diesel trucks? You know, the first gens, the second gens, you don't see them on the track anymore. It's all the newer stuff and the computerized stuff, and it's almost like, you know, how is it hitting us? As far as, is it hitting us negatively? Is it hitting us positively? How are we going to keep the influx of new people rising so that we can get more and more and more pullers and racers on the track?
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is very crazy. Technology is a scary thing.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So how is your season looking so far, given that we can have a season? I know you're probably going to run our point series, the SS Pulling Series. The first pull is May 2nd. Are you trying to run as much as you can? Are you trying to stick with, you know, hitting some points pulls? Are you a weekend puller? I mean, I know last year you kind of hit every pull that you possibly could. Is that your plan with this new truck? Pull as much as possible anywhere you can get a hook in?
Well, honestly, it's how I am. The truck, frankly, with the things that are going on in this world, I guess is how I should say this, is I'm tired of being cooped up. I want to get in the truck. I want to get on the track. I want to pull.
Right.
I want to, you know, truck pulling is like a anger release for me, I guess you would say. It's that adrenaline rush. You know, the feel of bringing the truck up to an RPM and letting that clutch out. So I want to hit the track. And I will pull as much as I can, as I always do, and I always, you know, will run a point series, you know, to keep sponsors happy, and that's what they like to see, and I want to be competitive. So chasing points is always a good way to stay competitive and always have that edge.
Right. And, you know, I was pretty surprised at the caliber of trucks that we pulled in last year. I mean, Matt Forba, he's a really tough truck to beat. Your truck was running good last year. Derek Nearhood's truck, I know you helped him with his swap, and he's got a lot. His truck runs 10,000 times better this year after you guys got done with it. That class it's starting to get pretty stout with competition, and I'm really excited to see what 2.6 brings this year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, and you know, I'm sure. Hopefully, everyone has made changes this past year, and it'll be interesting to see what people have done, and, you know, in order to get the edge on everyone else this year. And it'll be interesting to see where everyone ends up. You know, the first couple pulls are always hairy, you know, because you don't know what things you're going to do when you made changes, so you got to work them out. So as we get like halfway through the season or near the end of the year, it's going to be interesting to see how close everyone is and who's battling who every weekend.
Right. And it's really cool on my side of it. I don't know if you guys really realize this or not as pullers, but it's pretty cool on a promoter side when you have some tough trucks all go against each other, and you know what, it's not the same truck putting 40 feet on everybody every weekend. You guys really battle it out. You don't know who's going to win. It's kind of cool to post the winners, and it's a different winner all the time. It's cool on my end. I don't know if you guys appreciate that or not, but it's pretty intense when you have a pretty tight points chase.
Well, and that's what I enjoy. That's why I enjoy running a point series as well, is the fact that, you know, when you have a tight series and the series that is being ran the way it should be ran, is the trucks are close. A lot of people don't like that, but in my aspect, I think that's what makes it fun. Because if he's beating you by 3 feet, then you go, well, how can I beat him by 3 feet next weekend?
Right.
So it makes you wonder what you need to do, or maybe it was the way you drove the truck that night, or maybe it was the way you had the truck set up. Whether it's air pressure or weight, or whatever the case was.
Right.
It makes you wonder what you can do differently, and it always keeps your brain going. It always keeps you thinking, and keeps pushing you to be better.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. As a fan, I always like to see those trucks that just, came out and just stomped on everybody and went way down the track. And I think there's a time and a place for that. I think the Run What You Brung classes are kind of cool as far as that goes. But I agree with I don't want to say lower classes because it just brings a connotation with it. But I believe that the regular points classes should be close. But it always is fun to have like that Run What You Brung class and always have that person that goes out there, and Joe Hem always comes to mind when that happens. But I think that it's pretty cool when you guys are tight as far as your points go.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's definitely a time and a place for it. The brush pools is where you have that time and place to put 40 feet on a class. In the point series, they need to be close.
Right.
If they're close, then things are being ran the way they need to be, and competitors are doing what they need to do.
Right. I totally agree. Now, what's on your bucket list as far as events? I know when we've talked before, because we were going to go down to Rudy's and you were going to help out with the dirt drags that we were going to have down there this spring, and then we had mentioned diesels and dark corners and some other stuff. What's on your bucket list for pools to go to, and are we going to plan on going to some of those this year, or what are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, so as far as this year goes, and it honestly depends on, life in general, and I will throw one in here real quick that I wish it would come back because it's something I really wanted to do in years past, but they have since did away with it, and that is Rudy's. I've always wanted to pull at Rudy's fall, and they did away with the pulling, so it's hard to be able to go down there. I went down to Rudy's a few years ago and took actually Levon, struck down Levon Zasowski's, and he pulled in 2.5 down there, and it was just the level of competition and the amount of people that were there was just incredible. And I would like to be a part of something like that.
Right.
But as far as this year, I really would like to try to hit equals and dark corners. Being a pulling truck, even if I don't run King of the Street, I want to pull at King of the Street. It's just one of them things. It's that caliber of event to pull at with that many people that, to me, I think would just be a blast.
Right.
And to be able to experience an event like that.
Right. It's always kind of cool to pull against other people that you've not normally pulled against, but thanks to social media, we can follow all these people and see their videos and stuff. But if you have a chance to travel, make those 1 or 2 trips a year, get out of your comfort zone and go see how you stack up against some quote unquote foreign competition, then it's pretty neat to see where you land as far as that goes.
It is. Yeah, I mean, and to me, it's not about going down to, going down to Georgia and coming home, back to Pennsylvania with a win. Ultimately, that would be awesome. But at the same time, it's the fact of going down to that caliber of the event, meeting new people, talking to them, other pullers, and just experiencing something different than what we're used to as far as just pulling in Pennsylvania.
Right. And Pennsylvania is pretty tough for people that really don't travel. I mean, I've always heard of trucks in the Northeast. They go south, they go west. They try to hit a lot of other stuff, and you don't really see many Ohio trucks coming over, or Indiana trucks coming over, or Kentucky trucks coming over. We have kind of like this mixed track situation where some of the tracks are sandy, and some of the tracks are red clay, and some of the tracks are blue clay, and some of them are silt. I mean, it's a number of different tracks, and it's kind of cool when you go down to Rudy's, you're getting that Red Dirt Motorsports perfect track every single time, and that when you go west to Ohio, you're getting that clay track that those big guys pull on, and it's pretty exciting. For me, NTPA is probably the top of my list as far as associations go, and they really got their stuff together and the caliber of vehicles that they have. It was pretty cool for King of the Street when we went there that we actually got to pull on the same track that the NTPA guys pulled on 2 months prior. And it's the same track crew, and it was the same. I mean, that was pretty cool to know that we were on the same dirt. I don't know if other people look at it that way or if you look at that way, but I was like, wow, we had an event here. Like, they had an event here. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, because at the end of the day, then bigger classes are, as far as someone in a class of my caliber is you look up to them 3.0 trucks, the 3.6 trucks, and the run what you brung trucks, or the, pro stock trucks. You look up to them guys, so to be at the same place, to pull at the same place, even if it's at the same time, or even if it's a month later, to pull on a track that they pulled on and, say they got a big win out of it. It's just kind of like, oh, so that's what this track is like. That's pretty sweet. I like that track. That was a good track.
Right, right. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, we added to super stocks this year, and they're going to a select few tracks. We didn't schedule them for all of them because tracks do vary across Pennsylvania. But I thought that was pretty cool that we were able to get some super stock guys to really be like, yep, we'll give you guys 5 events or so, and 4 or 5 events, and we'll be able to pull with you and that's pretty cool because we've never had anything to that caliber come pull with us as a series. We've always been, I've always pushed the little guy. I've always pushed the street trucks. I mean, 2.5 was kind of one of our biggest classes. And then we had, the 3.0 class last year and stuff, but it was always the smaller stuff. And now that you have the big guys coming in, that's got to be pretty cool feeling for you. And the other guys that normally pull with us to be able to, A, share a pit with those guys, and then, B, share a track with those guys the same day.
Yeah, it is. In my opinion, it is pretty cool, especially to see them trucks. My thing is with, the pro stock trucks is every single one of them is different in their own way.
Right.
They might all run pretty much the same motor setup as far as that goes, but as far as their chassis setups and stuff like that, they're all different. So it's pretty neat to walk around them trucks and check them out, and plus to see the creativity that they've done with them, to make them, essentially a show truck. But I mean, at the end of the day, they're just a pulling truck.
Right. Yeah, we did talk to pro stock driver John Mans a few days ago, and we touched on that, how on his level they're not just. They're guys that love pulling, but they're not guys that just go out there and love to pull. It's actually, they're there to do a job, and they look at it as that is their job to put on a show. That's their job to please the fans. It's their job to get people excited about it and take pictures of their truck. They all have themes on their truck, or they just have really mint paint jobs or something like that. I mean, to hear how they talk about it, it's quite different than, hey guys, there's a pool this weekend, let's go hook. It's really more about the showmanship of it, and there's competition amongst them themselves, but they really do put a lot of effort into making their trucks look good and perform well for the fans and stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, that's how it should be. Any motorsport wouldn't survive without the fans. The fans is what keeps us going, and it's sad that there are a lot of people out there that don't look at things that way, and that's very good words on John's end for bringing that up, because a lot of these competitors need to realize that if it wasn't for the fans, that they wouldn't have anything to do. Their hobby wouldn't be around.
Right. And who's great about that, who we're fortunate enough that they pull with us, is to bring them up again, is Doreen and Joe Hem. They always post videos of their trucks. They're always open to have people come see their truck. I know you came down with us, and them and Richie Gardner and a few other people. We went to Atlantic City. We don't have any pulls over there, but we went to Atlantic City a couple of years ago, and just the amount of people that stopped and looked at all of our trucks and asked questions at a car show and an auction was pretty incredible.
Yeah, honestly, to me, the biggest thing from it in general that was mind-blowing was the fact that the amount of people that actually didn't know what they were looking at.
Right.
As far as, what does this truck do? There was multiple people that walked up to Joe, with that big Charger hanging off the side of his motor, and was like, what is that?
Right.
And Joe's like, that's a turbo.
Right.
And just the amount of people that we had to educate on, what we do and what truck pulling is.
Right. And we even had videos. We even had videos up. We had a TV and Doreen had her laptop up, and we had videos of what those trucks did. And to give everybody a backstory on that, the car show that we went to in Atlantic City, it's not like those people were not motorsports educated. It's not like they had no clue what they were looking at as far as vehicles go. It's not like we went somewhere that vehicles are a foreign policy or, horsepower is a foreign policy, but it's just that the diesels and the truck pulling was foreign to them.
Yes, it was very foreign to them. I mean, they knew, as far as my truck and Joe's truck goes, they knew looking at them, them are two Dodge pickups. But what's this stuff hanging off the front of them? Why are they sitting that way? What's up with these rear ends or, whatever the case was? They literally had no idea about it.
Right.
I mean, they understood the concept of, turbochargers, produce air, make horsepower, yada, 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 but they didn't understand of why.
Right. It was a very eye-opening experience for me. I thought we were going to go there, and I was like, okay, we'll just go. And when I told you guys about it, I said, well, you probably have to talk to a couple people. But, looking back at the photos that Caleb had taken, there were mass amounts of people at our booth constantly. I think we had 8 or 9 trucks set up all across. We had a street gas, a street diesel. We had a King of the Street truck, your truck, Joe's truck, Richie's truck. Amber Cheney's truck was there. Gordon was there with his dually. Mario. I mean, we had a legit setup of every array of motorsports that we cover as Smoke and Speed. But I'll tell you, our booth was packed nonstop, and I don't think you guys or we weren't ready for the amount of people that were going to be interested in what we were doing.
No, I wasn't. Honestly, I had no expectation of people not understanding what the trucks were actually used for. Even as much as, Gordon and Mario's truck, and, even Amber Cheney's truck, I know they sled pull it, but I think they do other things with it as well. But they just didn't understand it. And I honestly, going down there, I didn't expect that was going to happen. Right. I figured, with technology and TVs and, everything else, at some point in time, people would at least understand, what a pulling truck was and what, a diesel competition is, as far as street level goes, and, just the caliber of different things. I figured everyone, has probably at least heard about it or seen about it at some point in time in their life, and the amount of people down there that literally didn't understand was just mind-blowing to me.
Right, and it really brings it into perspective at least it did for me, and I'm sure the way you're describing it, it did for you as well and many other people on our team. It's like, we always say, Beer Money Pulling Team has Promote 365, and you look at it and you're like, man, how much do we have to push this? People have to understand what we're doing here, but they don't. You would be shocked at how many people are like, what do you do with that thing? And why does it look like that? So,
I think it would be fun to take, like, a couple pulling trucks out in the middle of L.A., and people would be like, what is that?
Yeah.
People in L.A. or Miami or, any of them large cities, they would probably about have a heart attack. Right.
It's interesting to me because, Atlantic City's not that far away for us. So, I was kind of shocked at the fact that, and I might be different for me because we travel all over the place. So distance really isn't a thing. And I'm probably crazy for that because I'm out of touch with the normal person thinking a couple hours away is a far deal. But it's really not that far away to go to Atlantic City or for Atlantic City to come this way. You know what I mean? Type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree because I think there's a gentleman and his son. They lived, I think it was like an hour from it. No, it was within an hour of Atlantic City. They were telling me about, like Cecil County, I think it was, that really is not that far away. In a pulling track that is, I'm staying within like an hour and a half or so of them.
Right.
And I was just like, and you've never went?
Right.
And they're like, well, now we're going to go.
Right.
I'm just like, oh, that's kind of crazy. You love this stuff. And they're like, yeah, we love horseback. And I'm like, well, then you guys need to go to them events.
Right, right. And, I think a lot of people, I'm not really sure what the barrier is there, or the holdup, or the hesitation, but, you think about, you can see these trucks in person. 99% of the events, you can walk in the pits. If you get there early enough, and you can walk in the pits and see these guys and talk to these drivers, and your kid can get pictures with these trucks. It's crazy to me, the amount of people that just really didn't know what was going on. When I was planning that indoor pool in Massachusetts at a college town. It's a college town arena that was there that we were planning it, and they had no idea what we were doing. And I'm like, have y'all ever seen like a pool, like a tractor pool, like a truck pool? Does anybody know what that is? And it blew my mind. They had no idea. So it's really crazy to me. I wish more people would, schedule those things like we did for Atlantic City, and schedule, some meet and greets. I know guys are like, well, we just want to pull our trucks, but, it really didn't, it wasn't that much of a hassle to get your trucks there and answer some questions. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to go out on a limb here and confidently say that every one of you that brought your trucks for those 3 days and talked to all those people enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I've talked to, Joe and Doreen and Gordon, as I've said before, that me and Gordon, do have a business relationship and stuff. And, even Mario, and every single one of us did enjoy it. It was a different, I don't know how to say it, but it was a different situation to be in, and it made it enjoyable, especially to be teaching people. And, if you don't like talking to people and you don't like, teaching people new things, then obviously doing something like that is not the best thing. But you need to be polite, to them people, and,
right.
and maybe point them in the direction of someone that will teach them,
right,
will help them understand. But it was honestly amazing in order to do something like that.
Right. And I really am looking forward to going back next year. I need to get a hold of those guys down there and see if we can take some trucks. We didn't get to make it this year, but we'll definitely see if we can get some trucks there next year, because I really think in the dead of the winter in February, that's something that, we really need to look into, and hopefully people listening to this that have pulling trucks, or that have associations or clubs, you guys can do stuff on your off season. I know a lot of people use that to build, but let's be honest here. Everybody waits. It seems like pullers wait till the last minute anyway. So
yeah, you have them people in motorsports that they'll either wait till the last minute, or they'll, as soon as the last hook is done for the year, they're tearing their stuff apart for
right.
The last race, whatever the case may be.
Right.
But it's one of them things. As long as that facility, would give you a heads up, you'll be able to definitely get quite a few trucks, good trucks and good people
right.
to take down there.
Right.
And I'm sure them people in Atlantic City, the ones that went to that car show, I'm sure there was probably a part of them that missed us this year.
Right.
And there's, I'm sure if we came back, or, you went back with trucks and stuff like that, that they would be happy to see that. And they would, the booth would once again be overflowing with people.
Right, right. And it's cool to see, and it'd be neat if every club or every group or every association did one meet and greet a year. That the amount of people that we met with that one, if every club or every group or every, whatever, pulling team, you don't even have to go as your club. If you have a pulling team and you want to take your truck and shine it up and go to a mall, or go to an elementary school, or, something like that. And could you imagine the amount of people that we could reach for our sport if every area did that?
Yeah, I mean, even with that being said, even the car shows in my area, you take a piece of truck and you put it in the car show. If it has, if you don't pop the hood and it just has, like fancy painted parts on it and stuff like that, they're just like it's like every other truck. But you pop the hood and like Truck Carlisle, for down there and you pop the hood on your truck and it has two big turbos hanging off the side of the motor or anything. But the amount of people that are just mind blown by that is amazing because they don't understand.
Right. Right.
And that's what people need to do. They need to get out. If they have an off weekend and they want to relax and maybe go do something fun like a truck show or something like that, well, then they need to load their truck up. They need to take it to that truck show.
Right.
Unload it, set it there, open the hood up.
Yep.
And sit there with the truck. You're relaxing and you're having fun at the same time.
Right. Right.
I encourage everyone to do that. That's what needs to be done. The motorsports in the last couple of years has really plummeted, in my opinion. You don't get the turnouts that you once did as far as trucks. A lot of people have dropped out, and it also seems like some of it has dropped out and the gas well kind of plummeted. But, and that really took a hard hit on the economy. But it's people just need to get out. We need to get the motorsports back to where it was. Right.
Right. And I think for a lot of guys that are out there that are hesitant on going out because of rule changes or because of, this thing or that thing or whatever, and not just saying this as a promoter because it's different. I obviously want everyone to come to my show, but I think for sake of motorsports in general, get out somewhere. If you can't come to my show, go to someone else's show. Get your truck out there. Even if you go and you pull exhibition. I know everyone's going to say, well, we have a lot of money in equipment and we have a lot of money this and that and the other thing. Well, guess what? You didn't build your truck and you're the only one with that truck. There's probably 5 to 10 other guys sitting around with a truck in a shop somewhere that meets the rule set that yours does. So get out there, get a class going, get your own thing, add to a show. There's plenty of people out there that they'll add a class if you have the numbers for it. I know I'm that way. I know there's a few other people that way. I'd like to tell people, I want 6 to 8 trucks in a class, and I'll give you a class if you can give me 6 to 8 trucks. So get out there and try to support your own sport, and some way that you can, even if you have to run exhibition for a couple hooks or your hometown fair or whatever, you don't meet the rules, be happy to pay that $20 for that insurance fee and run exhibition just to help the sport for the future, because you never know what it might hold. I mean, you have 5 to 10 trucks in hiding somewhere that don't meet rules or whatever, and you add those 5 to 10 trucks to any show that's out there now, I mean, that's just going to grow. So,
yeah, and the moral of that is, if you have a stolen truck that's been sitting for the last year or two, and because rule changes and stuff like that, and you just don't know what to do with the truck, I mean, listen, you have thousands of dollars into it. Everyone in motorsports, whether truck pulling, whatever the case is, let's be honest here, it's thousands of dollars.
Right.
You have thousands of dollars in that truck. Blow the damn dust off of it, blow the cobwebs out of it, and get that truck out. It ain't doing no good just sitting in the garage collecting dust.
Right.
So get it out, whether it's to a car show or whether it's to a truck show. Get it out and do something with it. You put that money into it, do something with it.
Right. Yeah, you can't get the money back
I understand
from...
life happens, but, people, at the end of the day, it don't cost no more money to take a truck to your local car show or whatever the case is. They might be like, what's this stupid pulling truck doing here? But
right.
At least you can say, I tried.
Yeah, and that's probably not going to be the case, because there's going to be a lot of people that, even the older generation, they're like, man, we used to see them back in the day. We used to go check them out. They used to be at the fair or whatever, and the older trucks have a place too. I mean, we had a guy, was it last year or the year before, we had a guy with a 2.8 Charger on his truck that came out. Do you remember him? Came to one of the events we had in the pulling series. He had his truck had been sitting for 3 or 4 years, had a 2.8 Charger on it.
I remember this one you're talking about,
Yeah, and it's like, dude, just bring it out. Like, bring the truck out, because even if your 2.8 truck isn't where the 3.6 or the 3.0 class is now, put a 2.6 smoothbore Charger on it, or put a work stock Charger on it, because we all know they're making the same amount of power.
Exactly, and that's the thing with the 2.6 smoothbore. That's one reason why I've been pushing for 2.6 smoothbore, and it's mainly for the fact that some guys that have the old school 2.6 trucks or the old school 2.8 trucks that don't know what to do with their trucks, and they're tired of oil changes, etc. And their trucks don't necessarily fit the new 3.0 rolls or the 3.6 rolls, whatever the case may be.
Right.
At least 2.6 smoothbore, it's a pretty solid class as far roll set for them older trucks.
Right.
So put a set of single wheels on it, throw a 2.6 smoothbore charger on it, and come out and play.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of those guys are they're pre-water to air. So, they're just the weight boxes. There's no water to air. A lot of them don't even have the dual wheels on the back type of thing. Because that's how old it was. I can tell you that I know more than 10 trucks that pulled when I first started heavily getting into taking pictures and going to events and helping with events before I had my own company. I can name 10 trucks easily that I know where they're at. I know they haven't pulled. I know they're in a barn or a shop or a garage or thrown a tarp over them or something like that, and they're just sitting there. And that's 10 in my area. And I know there's more in other areas, different classes and that sort of thing. So, get them out or get them sold or something, because those trucks are becoming more valuable now, especially if the RPM Act doesn't go through with the emissions and all that stuff. Those trucks there's kids going to be wanting those trucks to pull with.
Yep. Yeah, I agree completely. And, you need to do something with them. People, and that all, at the end of the day, that all boils down to is for the fans. You got to get the trucks out for the fans.
Right. Right.
If you have fans, you have an industry. Without fans, there is no industry.
Exactly. And it's not about, and we stress this all the time, and I don't know if people really realize it, but I know they touched on it at PRI this year when we were there, and we sat in a couple seminars. But once you get paid, once you get a winning purse or anything, even if it's $10, you're considered a professional driver. So if you get any sort of payout whatsoever, you are considered a professional driver, even if you win $10. That's how it is. And you need to support that. That's what you got into it for. Nobody got into pulling or racing or anything like that to get rich. None of us did. Not the promoters, not the shops, not the pullers, not anybody. Nobody got into it to get rich, and nobody's getting rich off of it. So it's mainly just trying to keep the sport alive. And I think a lot of people look at pulling or racing or whatever. It's fun for you. It's great. I'm really glad that it is so fun for you. It's perfect, but it's also fun for the fans. There's more layers to that onion, and you need to realize that the people that you've bought parts from, they want you out there. The people that are paying money to see you in the stands, they want you out there, which those people are basically paying you, because that fan money goes to your purse. So whether you win or not is your own deal. As the classes get bigger, they get show up money, because them being there that's in their contracts. So it's kind of like, whatever aspect you want, however you want this to turn out, it can turn out, but it doesn't do anybody any bit of good to have a truck sitting in a garage collecting dust, and nobody gets to see it.
So let me be clear. So you're telling me that I can't win my money back into the that I put into my phone truck?
No, I'm really sorry to break that to you while we're recording this, and it's public. But I really want you to understand that you're really not going to win that money back. You might win enough money to pay for one tire.
Man, I thought I was getting my money that I put back into that truck. I mean, that's what I really wanted.
Yeah. No, not at all.
That would be a perfect world, but that's not the world we live in.
Right. And, to be serious about it, though, I really think that, if anybody is out there and they're in pulling, and their monetary status is important. It's important that you get more money out of it. It's important that you get a little bit more income from it. You know, if anybody is out there, I really urge you to go to PRI. I urge you to go to PRI. I urge you to talk to those guys there about sponsorship deals and income for any of your classes or your truck or your events or anything like that, because they really will help you to get to that level. I mean, when you sit there and you hear some of these guys talk, these professional drivers, like we're talking the best of the best that are out there in NHRA or anything else, and they're going to sit there and they're going to tell you your purse winnings are less than 10% of the income that their teams have. It really puts it into perspective for you that it's like, you know what? Payouts aren't everything. We've got to get sponsored parts, and we've got to get, you know, team shirts, and we've got to do, you know, there's all kinds of stuff that it's crazy. I mean, how was that for you when you went out there to go out there thinking, you know, what your perspective of it was, and then go out there and be open to all of this other new stuff that they had?
I mean, honestly, you know, touch base on the whole, like, sponsors and stuff like that. Like, it's hard to get sponsors, especially in truck pulling. It is hard. But besides that, it was mind-blowing to hear, you know, like, John Schumacher racing and places like that are, you know, huge, or, you know, drag racing teams and stuff like that, of how they are solely ran off of sponsorships. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, is just mind-blowing to understand of, like, well, it costs this much money. Like, you got to rebuild the motor in that car every run, and it costs this much money to do that. Like, how? And
right.
it boils down to of how, you know, you have to get sponsored. You have to push yourself. So every year I try to pick up a new sponsor. That's a goal I set for myself as far as any, you know, and that's one thing I did learn from PRI is you as a person need to set goals. If you don't have goals, what are you doing?
Right.
Because you're not doing nothing. So a goal that I personally have set for myself, it's not the fact of taking that truck and winning every hook for the year or winning a championship or whatever the case may be. It's the fact of what my one goal is to reach out to one person and to pick up one new sponsorship every year.
Right. And you know
if I'm able to do that, I have reached my goals. And by reaching out to people, I mean by touching, whether it's a little boy at the pools that just loves your truck and thinks you are the best person in the world and wants to sit in it. So you let that little boy sit in your truck. You maybe let him press a couple buttons or something. And you just make his day. That's what I mean by reaching out to someone.
Right, exactly. And you know, a lot of things that a lot of people don't understand is you don't have to win. Winning is great.
No,
Winning's great, but your sponsors, they don't care. Most of them want you to go, want you to do well, but they're not going to pull their sponsorship if you don't win. It's a partnership level. It's you get a sponsor and you push their products. It doesn't matter if you win all the time. It just matters that you portray yourself professionally. You do a good job. You reach people. You know, people. There is not a person in this world that doesn't know who Gravedigger is. There's nobody in this world that knows that.
I mean, and that is honestly the best way you can say that. It's how you portray yourself as a professional and you portray them as a business. And, you know, that's what it boils down to. If you're able to do that, and you know, a lot of them, they do want hard data, you know, before they'll, you know, come on board as a sponsor. But they want that data because they want to make sure that you're not going to abuse their product and that you are truly a professional, because otherwise they don't know you other than through an email.
Right.
So you always have to keep pushing yourself and moving forward.
Right.
And you have to set goals. If you set them goals, you need to push to reach them goals.
Exactly.
And that's the big thing from PRI. There was a couple seminars that kind of sucked. I'm not going to lie, but there was also, you know, even not the seminars. You know, John Force was, I can't remember what that booth he was sitting in, but John Force was sitting there, you know, and he was doing an interview, and he even touched on that stuff. I mean,
right.
That's what the industry is about. It's about being a professional and pushing businesses and promoting them.
Right.
Even though you are a competitor, you are also a promoter at the same time.
Right, exactly.
So whether you have a shop or you're Joe Schmo that's down the road that works out of his grandpa's, one-car garage, I don't care what it is. You are a promoter and you are a professional.
Right. You're a promoter of the sport. It's every person that has anything to do with the sport, you're a promoter, from the photographers to the videographers to the shops to, the pullers to their crew members to every flagger, every hooker, every lineup guy, every announcer. Every person out there is a promoter of the sport, and you're a promotion company in yourself. You're promoting yourself, whether you're posting pictures of your truck every single day in all the groups, and you're tagging all your sponsors, and there's nobody out there that counts the number of wins. We don't know how many times Gravedigger has won. You don't know how many times John Force or Brittany Force, off the top of your head. There's not very many people that know every race they've won and lost. And they don't discredit them if they've lost a race or haven't come in first or haven't been the fastest pass or haven't been whatever. So, really it's how you go. There's a lot of guys I know that are not they're not clear winners each time. It's not a truck that's going to go out there and annihilate every single time. But guess what? That driver came early. He did meet and greet with the kids. Those kids took pictures with the truck. The sponsor stickers are on the truck. It's getting posted to social media because mom and dad are so proud that their kid got to sit in a truck. And I mean, you're getting all that extra exposure, which should be considered normal exposure for all your sponsors and all that stuff. And those guys are going to, that dad is going to say, hey, that guy from, XYZ shop, that sticker was on his truck and it's not that far from me. So I'm going to go there because I really like it that driver took time for my kid or something like that, and vice versa.
Exactly.
If you have stickers on your truck, for sponsors, or somebody knows it's a sponsored truck or whatever, and you didn't have time for their kid, that's a huge negative. So you really need to make sure that you represent those companies and yourself 100% all the time and push it forward, because you never know what somebody's thinking about something that you did or did not do.
Yeah. And one thing I do want to mention is, and it kind of goes back to the whole winning, losing, promoting, and and the people that have these trucks that are sitting, is if you are that person that needs to go out and win, and this is one thing, back to PRI that I took from it, is if you are that person that has a truck sitting and you rely on winning to keep moving forward, but you can't win because of the rule changes and stuff, then your start would be to set the goals of, well, what can I do to do better this time? Because it's not about winning. So if you can turn that around and make it a goal instead of, well, I lost, I'm done again for the next 3 years.
Right.
If you can figure out how to turn it around and make it a goal for yourself, you're going to help keep the industry moving by getting, there's probably, I don't know, 100 trucks or something that have been sitting for the last couple of years that need to get brought out to help support the industry. Right. And when you support the diesel industry, or the gas pulling stuff, say the gas pulling stuff, even if you're supporting truck pulling, when you do that, you are supporting the industry as a whole. And I'm talking as far as even racing teams that like Don Schumacher Racing or Penske Racing, whoever it may be, it's the industry as a whole.
Right.
It's not truck pulling, it's not racing, it's not dirt bikes, it's not spoilers, it's everything as a whole. It all has the trickle effect.
Right. Yes, it does. And that's completely true. Do you know there's a lot of to tie that in, there's a lot of shops and different products out there that you can change from. Truck drivers, they service truck drivers, they service truck pullers, they service daily driving, long haul, hot shot guys. There's gas trucks, tow vehicles. Towing your wife's horse trailer. There's products that you can use for that. So, getting back to it, when you guys are checking out your sponsorships or checking out your stuff, don't think that you need to change every puller to use those products, or you have to worry about getting every single person that hits the track on those products. You know, there's oil companies that they sponsor horse shows because every single one of those horse trailers gets pulled by a truck and a trailer. So if you do get a sponsorship with someone, don't feel like you need to stay just to truck pulling or whatever. You can literally go out and your buddy that tows his boat every weekend, if there's some sponsor that you can push, you know, and help him out and help your sponsor out at the same time, you know, it all ties together, whether, you know, you are actually in motorsports some way, or if, you know, you're not and you're just commuting every day. Everybody's got to buy tires, everybody's got to buy oil, everybody's got to buy all kinds of stuff. So, you know, don't be afraid either to tie in all your sponsors every which way you can, whether it's a shop that you just want to send your girlfriend and all of her friends to this shop to get oil changes. Like, hey guys, go make sure you go to this shop because they'll take care of it. You know, if there's something wrong, they'll take care of it. They won't overcharge you. They won't whatever, XYZ. You know, so make sure that any sponsor that you get, no matter what it is, if it's a barbecue shop, make sure that you go to that barbecue shop as often as you can when everything opens back up after Corona, obviously. But you know, and I think that was really the first year I went to PRI a few years ago, that was my eye-opening thing. Was I was like, wow, it doesn't have to be industry-related sponsors. You can get sponsored by your local pizza shop and, you know, get pizza there every night.
Even as far as like a fan aspect goes, you know, the fans, you know, like say fan/customer because of my aspect, but so say I have a customer walk up to me and they see the stickers on the truck, and you know, one sponsor that I didn't mention, and he's probably going to yell at me for, is OptiLube. Sean. Sean's a really great guy, and he's willing to do anything he can to help anyone out. And if I had a fan walk up to me and say, well, why do you choose OptiLube over you know, Power Service or Enpico, you know, whatever the case may be. And I sell Enpico products as well. But if we're running them stickers on our trucks, that's because we trust their product and we stand behind their product. Right. So, you know, if you come up and like you're like, well, what is that? And come up to the puller, talk to them, because they're running that sticker on their truck for a reason. So you can find out why they feel like it's better than this or that, or that, you know, like in my case, I might have hard data to prove why it's a good, you know, fuel additive, because that's what it is. OptiLube is diesel fuel additives,
right?
And what they can do for you. I mean, you know, and I've had this happen at places with you know, fans, or you know, I don't know what the exact situation is. And I've had it happen with customers. So, well, why do you run their product?
Right.
Because of this or that, or whatever the case may be, because they stand behind it.
Right.
I pick up the phone, I call them if I do have an issue.
Right.
And instantly they take care of it. And that's what a lot of people don't understand as far as sponsors go, and that's why they're also very important, because if they stand behind their product, then you can stand behind their product, and it makes you feel good about running their stuff on your truck or car or whatever the case may be.
Exactly.
So, as far as a fan goes or a customer goes, you can push their product and be like, "This, look, it works on this, it works on that, yada yada yada. So here you go."
Right.
Bye.
Right. Exactly. And you know, that is very true with a lot of things. And I'll nip one thing in the butt right now, because when somebody's going to say, well, you just run their stickers because they paid you. Well, no, that's not true. Because I can tell you that there are a lot of sponsors that I can tell you that for one class this year, for that 3.0 class, I have had at least 4 people try to sponsor that class. And the proposal was that the trucks run their product, whatever that product is, that we needed to have a certain percentage of the trucks run their product. And I can tell you that I have asked those guys every single product. I have said, who runs this? These guys want to sponsor, but I'm not taking their money just to take their money. So we have to figure out what the deal is. They want to sponsor this class. Well, we don't run it, or one guy runs it, or two guys run it out of 16, and it's like, okay, well, why do you guys not run it? And they'll tell you, they'll say, well, you know what, we got a lot of money in our trucks, and we've got a lot of time and everything else in our trucks, and we only want to run stuff that we trust, and we trust this person, and we trust this person, and we trust this person. It's not that that company doesn't make good products. It's that they have something that they trust with their money, that things are going to operate properly and the way that they want them to do, and each one of them is different. The best thing for sponsors like that is to say, hey, look, as a promoter, I've gone back to each one of those sponsors and I've said, hey, look, the guys don't run your stuff, but this guy and this guy and this guy, they do run your stuff and they like your stuff. So my suggestion would be to sponsor those trucks, because instead of sponsoring the class, sponsor those trucks, unless you just want, if you want the publicity and you want, the advertising, we can do it as an advertising thing. But if your main objective is to get your product on all those trucks, it's not going to happen. So here's the list of trucks that do use your stuff, and maybe you can work out a better deal with them as far as that goes. And sometimes, as promoters, that's kind of like our job, is to line a sponsor up with the proper truck or the proper class or whatever, because if you just take sponsorship money and you don't offer any return on it, that's really bad business, because those sponsors are not, I think a lot of people look at sponsorship as it's free money. It's, hey, can you give us money for this truck or give us money for this class? And no, it's not really like that. Like, yes, you're getting the name out there to your fans and to your people and that sort of thing, but you really need to offer some ROI. And if you don't, then, you're really doing a disservice to you, because who knows if the sponsor is going to come back or not. And then you're also doing a disservice to the sponsor, because they're not getting any ROI whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And that's another thing too, one thing to keep in mind, as far as these other competitors and stuff goes, is if you're searching for sponsors, don't search for anything you can get. Don't be that person. Right. Only search for the things that you can stand behind, that you can 100% stand beside. Right. I wouldn't have the sponsors I do if I wouldn't put it on, we'll use, in this case, my grandmother or my mother's vehicle, if they owned a diesel pickup. That's not how this works. I mean, if I didn't trust their products, I wouldn't use them. Right. And I wouldn't let them sponsor the truck. So.
Right. It's less what can you do for me? It's what can this partnership produce for both of us. That's really what it needs to be about. So. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, all good information, Josh. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me this morning and letting me record it.
Yeah, no problem.
As we usually get into these deep discussions every single time that we always have a chat, we always go off on something and throw ideas back and forth, which this was great. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of good information here for anybody that's looking for any of the things we discussed. So. Yeah, no, it's no problem at all. Back to the whole truck thing. Hopefully I have the truck ready here soon. Still waiting on parts, but luckily during our little podcast, the machine shop actually beeped in, so I'm hoping that's good news. Awesome. I can go get my block. Awesome. So, well, I'll let you get back to that, and thank you very much for your time. I really look forward to seeing you. Wow, it's less than a month away now is our opener, May 2nd at Shade Gap. So, yeah, you should get rolling on that. Yeah, I don't have a motor together yet, so, and the cab's not even bolted down on the frame technically, so. Oh, boy. All righty. Still a lot of work to do, but we'll get her done. Sounds great. Well, you take care. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you hopefully in the next 20-some-odd days. Yes, you too. Thank you very much. All right. Thanks, Josh. Take care. Bye. Bye-bye.